So you wanted that 32-inch Apple Pro display, right? Well, Apple put that one in the graveyard, which leaves this smaller 27-inch Apple Studio display as your only option, but not really. This is the 32-inch Meirro Pro display, and even when you stack it up against this newer, smaller Studio display, it gives you most of those Apple perks at a fraction of the cost. I'm Olive, and after 3 weeks of testing both of these side by side, I can tell you right now, my wallet has already picked a winner. Full disclosure, Meirro did send us this unit for review, but I will be giving you my unfiltered thoughts as always. Let's start with the build. The Meirro Pro display doesn't resort to cheap plastic for its housing. It uses an anodized aluminum alloy for both the enclosure and the stand. And honestly, the build quality rivals the one of the Apple display. This Studio display uses a single piece enclosure, while the frame and backplate on the Meirro are two separate pieces. But that's actually a win for repairability. If you ever need a repair, Apple requires disassembling the entire screen from the front just to access internal parts. And the same goes for changing stands. If you bought the entry-level tilt adjustable stand and want to swap it for this tilt and height adjustable version, or even the Visa mount adapter, you have to physically bring the monitor to Apple so that they can take the whole thing apart. According to some Reddit users, upgrading to the height adjustable stand that I have right here can cost around $520. The Meirro Pro display, on the other hand, comes standard with this tilt and height adjustable stand right out of the box, plus an included 100 by 100 Visa mount that you can easily swap yourself. In terms of adjustability, the Meirro stand gives you a wider range. It goes both higher and lower than the Studio display and tilts much further in every direction. Plus, you can rotate it vertically whenever you want. Now, I have to say that there is some noticeable wobble with this stand compared to the Studio display, but I personally think that's a fair trade-off for all of this versatility. Besides, it's just going to sit on your desk anyway. For connectivity, you get 5 USB-C ports on the Meirro. One port supports up to 80 gigabytes per second with DisplayPort 2.1 and delivers up to 96 watts to charge your MacBook. The other 4 USB-C ports run at slower USB 2 speeds. The Studio display packs 4 USB-C ports, 2 Thunderbolt 5 ports with DisplayPort 2.1, one of which also delivers up to 96 watts, and 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports. So while the Meirro gives you more ports, the Studio display offers faster standards. Personally, I've been running both monitors plugged directly into my MacBook Pro, so a single USB-C port is all I really need, but if your workflow relies on fast external drives or daisy chaining multiple monitors, the Studio display definitely takes the win here. Now let's dive into what really matters, other than the price tag, of course. First off, the Meirro is significantly bigger than anything Apple has to offer right now. Both panels are IPS, but we will get into the details in just a second. We get a sharp 6K resolution on the Meirro with a richer pixel density versus 5K on the Apple display. Both displays support only 60 Hz, no 120 Hz here. Both panels are glossy and come with an anti-reflective coating. While the Meirro cuts down a solid amount of reflections, the Studio display handles glare slightly better. You can also opt for a nano texture glass on the Apple side, but it'll cost you a staggering $300 extra. As for maximum typical brightness, we measured 571 nits on the Meirro and 623 nits on the Studio display, although I can tell you right now, with the naked eye, that difference is practically unnoticeable. For all the screen specs, you can pause the video right here. For my personal workflow, this monitor checks a lot of boxes, mostly because of the extra screen real estate and resolution. But I know a lot of you care deeply about color accuracy, so let's dive deeper into the pixels. First off, the Meirro's panel is a 10-bit display, whereas Apple's uses an 8-bit panel with frame rate control. Meirro also includes a calibration report with every unit, which doubles as a quality control sheet. Still, we ran our own color calibration in a dark room using a Spider X Pro, and these were the results we pulled. As you can see, the Meirro matches the Studio display when it comes to the sRGB color space, and it actually takes a clear lead when it comes to Adobe RGB. As for DCI-P3, the studio display is able to show the full spectrum, though the Meirro comes dangerously close. Head-on, both displays look fantastic. If you look at them from an extreme off angle, which honestly isn't a normal way to use a desktop monitor, the Meirro does exhibit a bit more IPS glow, but that's really only noticeable when the screen is showing full blacks. Panel uniformity is also slightly cleaner on the studio display, but again, that's only noticeable if you're really hunting for it. In everyday scenarios, both monitors looked pretty much identical to me, whether I was just casually web browsing or editing photos. Finally, because both panels feature a 16:9 aspect ratio, you won't get any black bars on the top or bottom of your videos, though naturally the Meirro delivers a much more cinematic experience just from this massive screen size. Now let's talk features. Neither of these monitors comes with physical buttons. On the Meirro, you get a remote that looks a lot like an Apple TV remote to navigate the settings menu. From here, you can tweak your brightness, contrast, gamma, and plenty of other settings. On the studio display, everything is controlled directly through system settings on your Mac. Since it is a first-party display, it has seamless macOS integration, so you can adjust brightness or toggle True Tone right from your control center. To power True Tone, Apple packs a built-in ambient light sensor plus a center stage webcam, a 3-microphone array, and a 6-speaker sound system. The Meirro Pro skips all of that, but for me personally, that's not a huge deal breaker at all. I'd much rather use my MacBook's camera anyway, and I wear headphones most of the time. Also, skipping these elements allows the Meirro Pro to come in at a much lower price tag than Apple's display. That said, I do have to give credit where it's due. If you prefer built-in monitor speakers over headphones, the studio display speakers sound genuinely incredible. So I mentioned that this Meirro display is cheaper, but how cheap are we actually talking? Well, it'll run you $1,299, and like I mentioned earlier, that price includes the much more versatile tilt and height adjustable stand, plus the Visa mount adapter right in the box. By comparison, the Apple Studio display with the base stand costs a whopping $1,599, and if you configure it with a height adjustable stand to match what you get with the Meirro, you're looking at $1,999. That's a $700 difference. So for a lot less cash, you get a much bigger panel, crisp 6K resolution, excellent build quality, and way more adjustability. Plus, the Meirro also supports firmware updates over time, just like Apple's monitor. For my workflow, this is a total no-brainer, especially since I use it paired with my MacBook, like most of you probably would. Missing out on built-in speakers or a webcam isn't an issue at all for me, and dropping those redundant parts keeps the Meirro at a much more grounded price point. Plus, if you don't even need the stand, you can buy the panel solo and save another $50. Check the link in the description so that you can see it for yourself. So what do you think? Is this 32-inch 6K panel a legit alternative to Apple's lineup? Drop a comment below. Oh, and before you go display shopping, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and hit subscribe because we're always testing the latest tech to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.